Mass Effect 1 begins in the year 2183, where we join humanity as the newest sentient species on the galactic scene, and despite being relatively new on the scene, they are expanding rapidly and developing at what's perceived by the other races as something of an alarming rate, as they've developed a reputation for being something of a bully. But what about the years leading up to this point? How has humanity gone from being stranded on Earth, as we are in reality, to expanding and colonizing worlds across the entire Milky Way galaxy? And how has humanity gained the unfavourable reputation they have amongst some of the other races? Well, join us in today's video as we go over the rise of humanity in the Mass Effect universe. Before human spaceflight was even perceived as a possibility, we as a species have always looked to the stars and pondered over what might be out there. Are we alone in the universe? What might be waiting for us in the far reaches of our galaxy and beyond? Do we hold any significance at all in the cosmos? These questions have been posed for hundreds, if not thousands of years, but I think it's fair to say that humanity's interest in the stars began to seriously boom in the mid to late 20th century, with the first manned space missions from the Soviet Union and United States of America taking place in the early 1960s. To them it was just another leg in the Cold War, but it was also proof to humanity that we can indeed make it to space. In July of 1969, Apollo 11 landed the first humans on the moon. Unfortunately though, after this, the drive for crewed space exploration started to slow as government funding dried up. A huge obstacle that stood in the way was the expense of creating first-stage booster rockets that would be lost after each flight, and so governments shifted preference, opting for cheaper unmanned probes and orbital stations. However, that wouldn't be the case for long. In the early 21st century, a private company called SpaceX pioneered efforts into sustainable space travel by developing a reusable launch system. So according to the Andromeda Codex, Elon Musk and SpaceX are now canon in the Mass Effect universe. The European Space Agency also launched plenty of interplanetary probe missions, but beyond that we don't know anything until the year 2069. Nice. 100 years after the first lunar landing, Armstrong Outpost is formally founded at Shackleton Crater, becoming the first human settlement on the moon. However, before long it becomes pretty commonly referred to as Luna. The following year, in 2070, billionaire Victor Manswell becomes frustrated with the pace of official human space exploration, deciding to fund his own private spaceflight expedition, which successfully launched 5 years later in 2075. The destination? Alpha Centauri. Aboard this mission were 300 colonists who were put into cryogenic stasis. Unfortunately, soon after departure, communications with this vessel were lost, though they were successful in establishing a colony in the Alpha Centauri system as they were rediscovered in 2186. In the year 2103, the European Space Agency established Lowell City, the first permanent human settlement on Mars. Though manned missions had been occurring for some time, and research stations on the planet were placed in the 2080s. Within a decade of this, both the United States and China had founded permanent settlements on the Red Planet as well. Satellites near the Prothean planum began reporting strange phenomena in that area that gave the region a reputation that's somewhat similar to that of Bermuda Triangle. In 2143, the construction of Gagarin Station, which later became known as Jump Zero, began beyond the orbit of Pluto. At this time, this was the furthest human-made structure from Earth. Jump Zero gained its second name due to it being the launching point for early failed attempts at faster-than-light travel. It was used for deep space telemetry exploration and for conducting experiments deemed too dangerous to do closer to home, and it later served as a safe environment to evaluate biotic humans, and then later again it was used for AI research. In the year 2147, humanity discovered trace amounts of element zero on the planet Mars. The following year, in 2148, humanity would make a massive discovery on Mars when a prospecting team led by Matthias Silva began exploring to find the source of these disturbances on Mars that gave the Prothean planum its mysterious reputation. The search led the prospecting team to the Decido crater, where they unearthed an ancient subterranean ruin left behind by an ancient race known as the Protheans. Within In the ruins, humanity found a malfunctioning Mass Effect core and several starships, as well as refined Element Zero. The nations of Earth worked together to translate the information remaining on the ruins' computers, identifying the Prothean ruin as a former observation station set up to receive and process data from Earth as the Protheans studied ancient humans some 50,000 years prior. The fragmented data cache in the ruins accelerated human sciences by roughly 200 years, paving the way for the development of faster-than-light drives and Mass Effect field technology, though some of the refined Element Zero in the ruins fell into the hands of the criminal triads of Mars, who used it to create red sand, which was sold as a drug. In 2149, humans discover that Charon, Pluto's moon, is actually a massive piece of dormant technology, a mass relay encased in hundreds of kilometers of ice, which was initially believed to be of Prothean origin. Once the relay was activated, John Grissom led a team of explorers through the relay. It led to the Arcturus system, which was 36 light years away from Earth. It had several other mass relays in close proximity, which allowed for humanity to rapidly expand into space. The System Alliance Charter is signed by the 18 largest and most powerful nations on Earth, quickly becoming the spearhead for humanity's exploration and military efforts, and in 2150, the System Alliance begins to survey for colonization prospects outside of the Sol system. One of these surveys discovers the planet Terra Nova. In 2151, humanity began constructing a massive military fleet and space station at Arcturus in order to defend its expanding territory. Meanwhile, an accident at Singapore International Spaceport exposed hundreds of humans to dust form Element Zero. Roughly 30% of the children born in Singapore after the Element Zero exposure suffered from cancerous growths. However, some instead demonstrated biotic potential. In the year 2152, humanity began to colonize extrasolar planets, first beginning with Demeter and later Eden Prime and Terra Nova. In 2154, a second publicized accident occurs involving the exposure of humans to Element Zero. In 2155, the Systems Alliance occupies completed portions of the Arcturus station intended to become the Alliance's headquarters. By this point, humanity were yet to make contact with any other current alien spacefaring species. However, it wouldn't be long before everything changed. Due to humanity's natural capacity for immense curiosity, their expansion efforts led them to activating every mass relay they could find, not realizing there was a galactic council of other spacefaring alien races that enforced a law forbidding this. In 2157, humanity's actions caught the attention of the Turians, who found human explorers reactivating an inactive mass relay known as Relay 314. Turians are a council species known for their militaristic and disciplined culture, and thus they're probably not the ideal people for humanity to encounter first. Instead of attempting to negotiate, the Turians opened fire. One starship managed to escape to warn the Alliance. Humanity retaliated and destroyed the Turian vessels, thus initiating the First Contact War. At first, humanity did not know what enemy they faced, as their first encounter was actually in space, and so the humans sent probes into Turian space armed with nuclear fusion warheads to prevent the probes from providing dangerous insights into human technology. The Turians, however, managed to defeat several scout and patrol fleets, and eventually broke through human defenses to attack Shang-Chi, besieging the colony from orbit until General Williams was forced to surrender the Shang-Chi garrison. The Turians now believed they had defeated the main bulk of humanity's forces. However, this simply was not the case, as a month later, Admiral Drescher led the second fleet against Shang-Chi, completely catching the Turians by surprise and forcing them off of the planet. Before long, the Citadel Council intervened to negotiate peace and bring this short, bloody war to an end. This is how humanity learned of the existence of the Citadel, and the many more sentient alien species in the galaxy who chose to coexist peacefully. By the end of the First Contact War, only 623 human lives were lost, though there were slightly more Turian casualties. However, there were political ramifications for both sides here. Humanity's first contact with an alien race was a violent one, giving them a bad reputation as aggressors. Xenophobia became rife amongst the Alliance public. This led to the emergence of extreme pro-human groups like Terra Firma and Cerberus. The Council grew interested in humanity's clear military capabilities. The Turians, on the other hand, were ordered to pay heavy reparations to the Alliance, and both humans and Turians would harbour mistrust for one another for a long time. And despite this antagonism, relations improved pretty quickly and the races became trade partners, even if, for many, it was somewhat begrudgingly. In the year 2160, the Systems Alliance forms a parliament, And the following year, that parliament passes the Sodom-Walcott Genetic Heritage Act amid concerns over gene therapy and genetic modifications being misused. In 2162, Arcturus Station reaches completion. In 2163, the Alliance secretly begins illegal research into AI. Also, a series of Starship drive failures are orchestrated over populated areas on human colonies, causing widespread exposures to Element Zero, resulting in a generation of humans born with biotic potential. In 2164, a human named Ivor Johnstag is imprisoned for attempting to assassinate Venter Tox, the Volus ambassador to the Citadel. This puts humanity's bid for an embassy on the Citadel in jeopardy, though the following year humanity's bid is successful and they receive an embassy. Meanwhile, tensions grow between humanity and the Batarians as they compete for territory in the Skyllian Verge. And while this competition for turf never escalates into an outright war, there are a couple of minor conflicts, which drives the Batarians to harbour an intense hatred for humans. Also this year, terrorists steal antimatter from the Alliance cruiser SSV Geneva. The only person arrested names his sponsor as Cerberus, and this is the first time the Cerberus organization is referenced. In 2167, the magazine Fornax is launched and humanity introduces the galaxy to tentacle porn. It's good to see that no matter how advanced humanity gets, we're still just fucked. In 2170, the human colony of Mindwar is attacked by Batarian slavers. During this raid, many colonists are killed and many more are captured, further rooting animosity between humanity and Batarians. A year later, after the Council refuses to limit human expansion into the Skyllian Verge, the Batarians close their Citadel embassy in protest and become a rogue state. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Cerberus assassinates Pope Clement XVI. His successor, Leo XIV, presents beliefs more in line with Cerberus's Humanity First twaddle. In 2173, numerous elaborate crypts were discovered on the planet Armeni that were made by an ancient spacefaring race called the Zayoff. Various human universities requested to perform excavation, but council law states that excavating burial sites is prohibited. However, an ongoing debate about this persists. Come 2175, Cerberus covertly contacts a political dissident on Earth known as Michael Moser Lang, providing him with the funding to purchase weaponry, and just a year later, Lang assassinates United North American States President Enrique Aguilar and the Chinese People's Federation Premier Ying Xiong. Cerberus benefits from the political ripples, both benefiting their shell companies and their plans. Batarian-funded pirates launch a surprise attack on the human colony Elysium in the Skyllian Verge. Alliance Navy ground teams manage to successfully defend the planet and repel the attackers. This event is later known as the Skyllian Blitz. The John Grissom Academy was founded this year over Elysium, with its main program being the Ascension Project, which is designed to train and monitor young biotics as well as help them integrate into society after graduation. A civil war begins over the practice of slavery on the human and Batarian colony world of Anur. This war spreads throughout the Amun system. During a recon mission in 2177, a unit of 50 Alliance Marines is wiped out by Thresher Moors on a Kuz. In 2178, the Alliance retaliates for the Skyllian Blitz, launching a major offensive against the moon of Torfan, curtailing the threat against human colonies from Batarian extremists. Over a period of roughly 6 months, the Alliance tracks several pirate FTL exit vectors, using monitoring devices planted on the moons of Thessacha in the Hong system, leading to 8 major pirate anchorages. This becomes known as the Thessacha Raids. And since then, no ships from the Terminus systems dared to enter the Hong system. In 2182, Admiral Kahoku of Systems Alliance begins investigating suspected Cerberus activities, and the rumours relevant to that. And in 2183, humans and Turians begin to collaborate on an engineering project sponsored by the Council itself. A prototype frigate with experimental stealth systems, the SSV Normandy. Captain David Anderson is given command of the ship, with Commander Shepard as the executive officer, bringing us to the beginning of Mass Effect 1. Well, there you have it. That's the rise of humanity in the Mass Effect universe up until the beginning of the first game. With the Legendary Edition just a few days away now, I thought this was the best time for a catch-up of humanity's actions up until 2183, and a nice lore introduction for people getting into the Mass Effect franchise for the first time when these remasters drop. I really hope this video has been helpful, but now it's overstaying its welcome, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff, that would be super fantastic. And with any luck, I'll be seeing you all very soon with another video at some point. But until next time, take care and goodbye.